What's up, YouTube? This is a video that I'm going to be doing similar to some that I've done before, and sometimes it gets exhausting talking about this topic, but this one just kind of struck me as so bizarre that I really felt compelled to actually do a video response to it. If you're not familiar with the situation, it is of 22-year-old Oscar Grant out of Oakland, California, who was fatally shot by a rapid transit police officer on New Year's for whatever reason. Still pending investigation, so it's still fresh in the minds of a lot of people. My heart goes out to the family. They have my condolences. If you're not familiar with who I am Mr. Charlie Black, and what I'm going to be talking about right now is just the entire situation. If you have not found out exactly who Oscar Grant is and you'd like to know a little bit more than what I can share with you, click the link, because I won't regurgitate everything that I've just watched, and also because some of you have found me by the link. But this kind of situation right here, this is all too common, and I think that it will be swept under the rug, but that just lets you know how desensitized so many people have become to situations like these. I just did a video, ironically enough, just literally 10 minutes ago, on gun control in the United States of America and how it needs to be worked on by lawful gun owners and the police officers. This is an example of what I'm talking about when I say this right here. This young man was fully cooperating with police officers when he was apprehended. He was one of 4 young men to be apprehended. They had a train load, a carload full of people sitting back, hundreds of witnesses sitting back watching these apprehended men respond to these police officers willingly, voluntarily, follow every order that they were given. And somehow, somewhere along the way, while this man was being taken out of a seated position, sitting down on the ground, being taken out of a seated position, being pulled forward and placed on his stomach, a 2-year veteran pulled out a gun and shot him in his back, wounding and killing this young man, a father of a 4-year-old child. The man happened to be black. From the video, from what I see at least, the officer is either white or definitely not black. And so some people might inject race into this and say, hey, this is another example of racism. Some people from the opposite side might say, hey, why do black people always have to pull the race card when it comes to issues of police brutality? Let me explain to you why it seems all too common, because you hear these stories all the time. And some people do cry wolf. Some people, like I was talking about in my nigger mentality video, some people actually walk around with drugs in their pocket, unlicensed firearms in their pocket, and commit crimes. And then when they get stopped by the police, apprehended by the police, and they investigate them and find out that they are criminals, then they want to cry the race card. This is totally separate. You have hundreds of people watching this young man follow the instructions of the police officers, and for some reason or another along the way, the man was shot to death. And I hate it because it's been 4 days now, 4 or 5 days, how many ever long, and this investigation is still pending. It's understandable. They want to get all the facts together. But people will sweep this under the rug just as easily, and I don't think that it should be that way. Let me mute this television. There are too many times where this just goes unnoticed. The man that submitted the video footage to the news station wanted to remain anonymous. You want to know why? Do you really want to know why? It's because he knows that if his name is put out there, what's going to happen? We've also heard about stories where the police have gone above and beyond to locate a person who's providing, evidence, and all of a sudden they end up missing. Think about the transsexual out of, I think it was Florida, who was going to testify against a police officer. And correct me if I'm wrong, it might not be Florida. It feels funny saying it, but it was going to testify against a police officer in a brutality case. Came up dead just about a month ago. It's this us versus them mentality, and it's not just a black or white thing. It's the citizen versus the police officer. If you are there as a police officer to protect and to serve, and someone is that deathly afraid of you, imagine how your society, your community, your city is going to function. I can't imagine what the people that were sitting on this train watching, the lookers by, the people that are looking straight at the situation for what it is, the hundreds of people who witnessed this situation. I can't imagine the trauma that they're gonna face next time that they see cherries and berries behind them with on the loud horn telling them to pull over to the right side on the middle of a dark street at 2 o'clock in the morning, or next time that they're apprehended by someone on this train system. When they're sitting up there against the wall on their back, how quick they're going to be to move. And this coward-ass 2-year veteran that you call a police officer went as far as to shoot this man in broad daylight. So that doesn't mean anything. For those of you who thought that you could just, drive somewhere where it's well lit and lots of people and get by. That doesn't mean a damn thing. I've done a video on a man who was sodomized by police on the subway in New York City. There are all types of videos where police have over-exerted their force in every situation. You have your knee in someone's neck, trying to pin them down to the ground from a seated position. How do you think that they're going to respond? And this man has the arms up to say, I'm a father. You just shot me. What's going to happen to the 4-year-old child who's going to grow up to know that her father, or his or her father rather, passed away at the hands of a fucking police officer? This shit right here makes you want to stay in your car and flee and keep going for as long as your gas tank will let you go. This shit right here makes you want to stay in your house and not snitch. There has to be cooperation between the two groups. I look at areas like LA, where they've had to try to, curb the gun violence in the city of Los Angeles, and a lot of the citizens got together and started to create a program in which they would curb the gun violence, take these guns off the street, educate these children, provide a haven for them so that they can avoid being the victim of gun violence. And the people that did not respond, the people that would not cooperate, were the police officers. Now, you can talk about race any day that you want to, at any time that you want to, and make it seem as if it does not play into it. But I'm tired of seeing young black men dying at the hands of police officers and having these pending investigations that carry on for years. And by the time that we blink, 5 years have passed and they're just now laying out a verdict. Meanwhile, the people that sit behind these desks at these police stations or are on these patrols don't get any kind of punishment or consequences for their action. They get their paycheck. All the while, somebody has lost their life. Think about the man in New York who was going to get married, Sean Bell. Police officers thought that he was some kind of getaway driver. Boxed him in and just shot him to death. Young man who followed the law. So what's going to happen? I don't know. We've got to do something. And it's sad that people feel like they can't use law enforcement as an outlet. It's become too fraternal. Now it's to the point where the people that are wearing these badges and holding these guns and all this technology are no better, no more upstanding moral citizens than the people out on the street smoking dope, selling it, and killing each other. There has to be a huge change in the way that we do things. Some people don't believe in curbing gun violence or having stricter gun control laws. I do. I believe that police officers should have bigger punishment for what they do. Yes, they put their life on the line every day interacting with people from all walks of life. And there are amazing cops out there. Do not get me wrong. People that bust their ass every day just to make sure that a community is safe. But there are a lot of those out there who go unnoticed, who are corrupt, who are corrupting the system, who these good cops that actually do their jobs, that are trying to give police officers a good name, are, who really overshadow them, who need to be pointed out, who need to be afraid of what's to come, who have too much control over the situation and nobody overseeing them, which is why they behave the way that they do. Now you have a 22-year-old man who's dead. This is somebody's son, possibly brother, obviously father, best friend, who died at the hands of gun violence for what? Common example. But YouTubers, viewers, subscribers, friends, whatever you consider yourself to Mr. Charlie Black, this is just me letting you know what's going on around the world. Stay tuned, tune into my channel, subscribe, add me, do what you do, leave comments, and stay blessed.